the truth of what we really are. Our true self is way beyond whatever we might have thought ourselves to be. Our true self is something that cannot be seen, heard, felt by any of our senses, because our true self is pure spirit. And spirit has no shape or form. Spirit cannot be contained within the narrow confines of your body. The body and all that appears to our senses just do not tell us the truth of who we really are. This subtle, invisible, and intangible thing that I am is beyond my ego, beyond all my thinking thoughts, beyond all my perceptions that I may have of myself. No form tells me the truth about itself. It just shows me the form, the outside, but the essence of it has to be learnt and understood and known from deep within. My dear friends, the dimension of the spirit that I am is as vast as to encompass the whole universe and all the rest of the universes that are around at this moment. And yet, at the same time, your spirit and mine could fit on the top of a pin, on the point of a pin, and that contains everything. And so, we have to constantly strive to give value to that which will pass away and give value to that which is infinite, eternal, and never passes away. We have to begin not to understand it, but to know our spirit. Your spirit and mind is not the body. Our spirit is not all the tags that we have put around ourselves. Our spirit is not the identities that we carry about. The identity that my name, or my age, or my sex, or my culture, or my country, or my education, or my weight and height, it has nothing at all to do with the spirit that I truly am. Because all that rises and passes away in an instant. All that comes from somewhere and goes somewhere. As they say, it comes from the dust and returns back to the dust. But your spirit and mine never will pass away. It is vast, it is infinite, and it is eternal. It simply exists. It just is. And it never changes. Throughout our life, moment by moment, our life is constantly changing. Nothing is the same. and yet the Spirit is the same from eternity to eternity. My spirit simply exists. Let us therefore think about the spirit that we are. Even though I may perceive myself differently from time to time, and even identify and color myself differently from one moment to another, it's not my true self. My true self is my spirit, and I long to know it. I just cannot be truly absent from that which I am, from that which is my reality, from that which is myself. I must learn, therefore. I have to get away from all the questions of my life that arise to the surface of my brain, the surface of my mind, and get into the silence. I must learn to dissolve all the imagined hurts and resentments that flood my being. I have to give myself away from that thing that tells me I must manage something, I must change something, I must fix something, I must do something about something. I have to therefore rid myself of the unending demands of my ego and begin right now to slide deep, deep into myself, into the pool of absolute consciousness that rests forever in absolute stillness. Right there in the center of my being, my consciousness, everything is contained. In my consciousness, my spirit, I enfold the whole of creation and all the multiverses in a space as small as a pinpoint. Right there in the center of my being, I find my Creator and the source of all creation. This pinpoint contains all the vastness of creation. Here at last is the home where I find my true self. Here is the peace that the world cannot give. Here is the fulfillment of all beings, and I find my fulfillment too right here. From this center of peace and the presence of God, I look upon all things with love. I sense myself gradually getting detached from my ego, and I begin to see it as something apart from me. That which I considered as my identity is now something to be detached from and watched from afar, and let it dissolve into the mist from which it came. From this center of my being, I begin to realize that I never was what I thought I was. I never was what I perceived myself to be, and never was what others told me about myself. I was, and I am always that which is the Spirit, that which is consciousness, that which lives with its source and creator forever. I am alive to the truth that I was never different from what I really am. And I am what I am in the eyes of my source and creator, and not in any other eyes. I accept that there can be no two separate consciousnesses, for my consciousness is the consciousness of God and of everybody. We all share one consciousness, and that one consciousness makes us assume or to believe or to reach forth and say, there is only God, and God is pure consciousness. In utmost surrender, I declare my unity with Him, as I say that my Father and I are one. I hand over to Him all things, all events, all dreams, all circumstances, all relationships. I surrender them to my source and creator. I surrender them to infinite love. For from now on, I desire strongly to be attuned with the will and purpose of God. I just cannot see myself as being happy and fulfilled and tuned into anything else. I am sure that this is exactly what God desires for me, and so we cannot fail. I allow peace to flood my being. I look at myself as once having a body and now using it to do whatever it has to do to bring love and God to the world. The power and the love of God flows throughout the universe, and it flows also through me, and I allow it to flow, being utmost vigilant to any obstruction that I might place to its flow, to any resistance that I do to lessen the flow. That's all I have to do, and the flow will keep